Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. So this is Deadpool's first film within MCU canon, and although it's technically like an MCU film, this feels more like a farewell to Fox, if I'm completely honest. So there's been a lot of politics behind the scenes in regards to Disney's buyout of Fox over the last few years. What properties that Disney wanted to continue on with, which ones they didn't, which ones they wanted to try and reboot themselves, and it's all in a typical Deadpool fashion referenced within this film, even within the first couple of minutes. And I'm gonna give my overall opinions of the film. Then I might dip into a little bit of spoilers. Like, the film has been out, I think it's 4 days as of recording, but obviously people still haven't seen it yet. So my thoughts. I have now seen this film 3 times. I saw it on opening night, I saw it the next day, and then I saw it the following day. So I think that kind of says my thoughts about the film in total. So this is I can't even remember how many years. I think it's been about 6 years or so since Deadpool 2. And Ryan Reynolds did a film. I can't even remember the director's name now off the top of my head. I've had all of these facts and figures and I can't remember them. Ryan Reynolds did a film with a director that was the director of Free Guy, and he said as soon as he did Free Guy, he said that this is the guy to do the next Wolverine, and the next Deadpool, and that kind of does track, because we've had Tim Miller for Deadpool 1, David Leitch for Deadpool 2, so it does track that there's been now 3 Deadpool films and 3 different directors. But the one consistent thing across all of them has been the writing staff. Now, again, I can only remember 2 of the writers. One of them is Ryan Reynolds himself, and the other one is Rhett Reese. So I think having consistent writers throughout all 3 films has been fantastic, and definitely something they needed, because you can tell that the writers of this film truly like not just the character, but the world that has been built around them within the Fox universe. And this is, although this is technically Deadpool 3, this is very much a Deadpool and Wolverine film. They do get equal screen time. There is no doubts about that. It might favor Deadpool because things tend to revolve around him, but it's very much like a buddy cop between him and Wolverine, and I loved it. I did. I know there's been a lot of people that are saying that the first few minutes or first 30 minutes have been quite slow. I don't know. I wouldn't really agree with that, because I think the opening scene to this film, again, I'm not going to spoil anything within this part of the review. The opening scene within the film, I absolutely loved. I absolutely loved it. It's very self-referential. It knows what it wants to do. And it's incredibly funny. It's really, really well written, and yeah, I think as we've seen with Deadpool 1 and 2, Ryan Reynolds just encapsulates this character perfectly. He is the perfect casting, really, isn't he? So overall, like I said, I've seen this film 3 times within 4 days. I think that speaks for itself. This film was fantastic. It really was. It's not perfect. There are some concerns that I've got with it, which I'll go into in a minute or so. But overall, it's an incredibly good time. It's fantastic to see a sort of younger Wolverine. Obviously, Hugh Jackman is older than he was in Logan, but the character itself is clearly not the old man Logan that he portrayed in Logan. So overall, I think the film is fantastic. Sean Levy, that's the director. I think Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds, they clearly have something amazing going on, you know, with what they did at Free Guy, and now what they've done within Deadpool and Wolverine. I think it's a phenomenal film. I cannot rate it high enough. Like I said, not perfect. I've got some issues which I'll go to. But I'm going to go into some spoilers now. So 3, 2. Okay. I'm going to still try and keep this as like spoiler free as possible. There's some cameos in this that are absolutely fantastic. There's a couple of that I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil for people. But I will say one of the cameos that I really wanted them to do, and really wanted Deadpool to make a comment on, was have Chris Evans within the film. Now, obviously, Chris Evans portrayed Johnny Storm within the Fox universe in Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. So if they had a chance to bring him back, because Deadpool likes to break the fourth wall, you can make a few jokes about the character of being, oh, is this Captain America? Oh, it's brilliant. And they did exactly what I was expecting and I was hoping that them to do. Chris Evans turns up. Deadpool sees him and he's like, oh, he's here. Makes a big song and dance about, oh my God, he's going to say it, Avengers, ah! And then just as you think Chris Evans is going to say Avengers Assemble, he says, flame on, and he's Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. It was an incredibly funny joke. It was something that I felt that they absolutely had to do because it's just such a meta joke that he's been in both the Fox universe and the MCU. Really, really worth it. I'd say that's probably one of the weaker cameos in the entire film. I'm not going to spoil my favourite cameos. I'm not, because I loved them so much that I want everyone else to experience them. And I will say that, unfortunately, I have seen things on Facebook, on X, that people are ruining it. But please, as much as you can, try and stay away from those, because the really special cameos, they're incredible, and the shock value that you'll get from having those people on screen, I don't ever want to take that away from someone. Now, I think the biggest problem that I have with this film is the structure in terms of the storytelling. The jokes, fantastic. Overall, you kind of just want to switch your brain off a little bit. But there are some massive plot points. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think this is too much of a spoiler, so I would like to go into this a little bit. Cassandra Nova is the big bad of the film. And she manages, I'm not going to say too much of how and why and everything like that. She gets herself a hold of I can't even remember what they call it within the film. But it's a machine that can erase timelines. And the third act of the film, they talk about she's going to erase all of the timelines and just keep the void so she can run the void, because that's what she's been doing for the last 20, 30 something years. But she's erasing the timelines, starting with the one that she's in. Now, if she were to erase the timeline that she's in first, would that not get rid of her and the machine that she's using, meaning that she can't use it to erase any other timelines? I was a little bit confused by that. There's a couple other plot points that I don't really want to get too much into, because it does involve the sort of the major spoiler people, and like I said, I want to keep that for everyone to be able to view. But there's a couple of, like I said, there's a couple of things like that didn't quite sit right with me. But I will say, overall, what a film. What a fantastic film this was. And I would happily see it again. I really would. It is such a fun film. There's a lot of meta jokes. There's a lot of breaking the fourth wall. And there's even jokes about breaking the fourth wall. Incredible amount of cameos. Like, I probably still have missed a couple of cameos. There's some amazing comic book references. Absolutely amazing. Seeing, I think it was John Byrne's brown and gold, like classic Wolverine costume. Seeing that on the big screen was absolutely phenomenal. It really was. Although you only see it for like a 10, 20 seconds, if that. But seeing that was so cool. Obviously, seeing the yellow and blue suit as well from Wolverine was also just again, there's a joke made of that it only took them 24 years. But this is the kind of thing that they can really do with Deadpool. They can push those kind of boundaries. They can make those kind of meta jokes. And I think Ryan Reynolds clearly is the person to do it, because I think he's got enough pull within Hollywood and for Disney to kind of do what he wants. We're considering the first two made, I want to say both together, they made probably around close to 2 billion. I think the second one did make more than 1 billion. So I think he's earned the right to kind of push back at Disney and say what he wants to do. I do think Disney have made him tone down a few of the jokes. There's not as many drug references, and they make a joke about not really wanting to reference drugs. But I don't have a massive problem with that. I really don't. I think the jokes that we get are funny enough as it is, and I mean everyone within this film is clearly having a lot of fun. And like I said, the one of the last things you see, I'm not going to talk about the post-credit scene, because there is a post-credit scene, and to be honest, it's not that great in this grand scheme of things. It's not. The thing that really like hit me the hardest was there's a montage of pretty much the entire Fox universe, all the way from X-Men up until, what's the latest film? Logan, maybe. Logan they show. No, they showed Deadpool 2. I think that came after Logan. There's a montage of like everything, with a couple of clips of Hugh Jackman, a couple of clips of Ryan Reynolds, and seeing all of those films, seeing everything referenced, seeing the people that were behind the scenes, seeing everything that went into what was essentially 24 years worth of the Fox universe was actually quite emotional. And I have to say a bit of like a tip of the cap to Disney. I will say that. There's a lot of things that I disagree with Disney on, a lot, but the fact that they allowed a very much a sort of a montage of remembrance essentially for the Fox universe, I have a lot of respect for that, because they could have been well within their rights to say no, that's not us. No, although we purchased them, no, that wasn't us that dealt with that. And I think it's an incredible thing that they've done to allow that, and it's a nice cap off for the Fox universe. And obviously we are going to see the characters again. I think we're going to see Deadpool. I think we're going to see Wolverine. I think we're supposed to be seeing them in Secret Wars, which has now been set for a 2026 release. So we're going to see them again. It's just a matter of, will we see them before Secret Wars, or what's going to happen after? But I think the film is fantastic, absolutely phenomenal, and I hope they continue to do Deadpool. I hope Ryan Reynolds continues to do it as much as he wants, because like I said, I think he's earned that right to say, no, I want to do this. And with everything tracking with Deadpool and Wolverine, I think it's made like 200 worldwide, 200 million worldwide, just over the course of the weekend. I think it's on track to make a lot of money. So I think Disney would be stupid to shoot themselves in the foot and say no, but who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, but I will say, please go and see it. Some of the CGI is not great. So the first time I saw it in IMAX 3D, and I will say, seeing it in IMAX 3D, you don't notice the poor CGI as much. So I think the best experience is IMAX 3D. Not sponsored by IMAX, not sponsored by anyone, to be completely honest, but I'm giving you my opinion. It's definitely a film worthwhile seeing, and it hits a lot of emotional notes. Ryan Reynolds is just as funny. Hugh Jackman, I think there was an understanding when he left the character of Wolverine that he wanted to do something else, and I've heard interviews where he said that this is something different, and I think there is definitely an emotional point within this film that I don't think we've really seen before from Hugh Jackman. Like you do see a lot more like anger, you see a lot more hurt. But if you have seen Deadpool and Wolverine, I want to say who hasn't at this point, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, because it really does help me out, and I'll see you all in the next one.